Welcome back to our science class. Today we are going to learn about a new and interesting chapter. Students, open your textbook at page number 134. Chapter number 10, Respiration in Organisms. Shall we start the topic? Yes. Children, do you have any idea about how many breaths we are taking in a minute? Maybe 15 or 20? Yes, children. All living organisms will breathe. So, we are going to learn about respiration in this chapter. Yes, children. Now, let us learn about mind map for this chapter. Okay. So, what do you mean by the process respiration? The process in which food is broken down in the presence of oxygen to release energy, carbon dioxide and water. Water vapor is said to be as respiration. I repeat, the process in which food is broken down in the presence of oxygen to release energy. You are getting mainly energy, carbon dioxide and water vapor. That process is said to be as respiration. Clear? So, we are going to learn about respiration and in different organisms how this respiration takes place. Okay. So, first for an example in human. Okay. In human we are going to learn about the respiratory parts, their mechanism and the types of respiration. The types of respiration. What are they? Aerobic and anaerobic. Okay. So, what do you mean by aerobic respiration? In the presence of oxygen, if the respiration takes place, then it is said to be as aerobic respiration. And in the absence of oxygen, if the respiration takes place, then that is said to be as anaerobic respiration. This anaerobic respiration will take place in yeast and in some bacteria and even in human sometimes. Okay. So, that we will learn in this chapter in detail. So, there are two different types of respiration, that is aerobic and anaerobic. Clear? Then respiration will take place by different organs. Say for an example, it may take place through skin in earthworm. Respiration will take place through skin in earthworm, and then air holes. Respiration can take place through air holes in cockroach and grasshopper. Clear? And respiration might take place through gills in fish. Gills in fish. Respiration might take place through lungs in frog. Respiration might take place in plants with the stomata, God cells stomata. Okay. So, we are going to learn about all the different types of respiration and how it happens in different organisms. Clear? Yes. Yes, children. Now, you can have a look at the plant. This is freshly collected plant with roots. Clear? Yes. Now, you all can see two conical flasks. One flask with lime water and other one an empty conical flask. Okay. So, now what I am going to do here, I am going to explain about an activity that roots will release carbon dioxide which in turn reacts with lime water. Clear? So, now let us do this activity. Here I have kept some lime water. Can you all see? This is lime water. Okay. Then what I am going to do, I am just going to add this lime water in a conical flask. Clear? Yes. Now you can see this freshly collected plant sample with a bunch of roots. Is it not? Yes. Now I am going to insert this roots in the conical flask. insert in the conical flask so that the roots should touch the lime water. Clear, children? Yes. Now what we want to do? We want to wrap it. We want to wrap it with the tissue paper. Yes, children, now we have tightly wrapped the plant, okay, and we have kept the roots immersed in the lime water. You all can see, is it not? Yes. Now we have inserted the plants in such a way the roots will not damage, is it not? Now we are going to leave it aside for few hours, and after few hours we are going to notice the results. Clear, children? Yes. Yes, children. Now let us learn about respiration. Definition for respiration. Okay. So what do you mean by respiration? The process in which food is broken down in the presence of oxygen to release energy, carbon dioxide and water is said to be as respiration. Children, I repeat, the process in which food is broken down in the presence of oxygen to release energy, carbon dioxide and water is said to be as respiration. Clear? So this respiration process is one important characteristics of living being. Clear? Then, so let us learn about this respiration, steps of respiration. So mainly there are two steps in respiration, that is breathing and cellular respiration. Breathing and cellular respiration. So what do you mean by breathing? Breathing, the process of taking in oxygen rich air and giving out carbon dioxide rich air is called breathing. Is that clear, children? The process of taking in oxygen and releasing out carbon dioxide is said to be as respiration. Clear? Yes. It is also called external respiration. This breathing process is also called external respiration. Clear? Then the taking in of air is inhalation. You are intaking air, oxygen, is it not? Yes, you are intaking air, no? That process is said to be as inhalation. And giving out of air is said to be as exhalation. Exhalation. Clear? Yes. Now about the second step, that is cellular respiration. Okay, so what do you mean by cellular respiration? The process in which oxygen is used to burn food. We have intaken oxygen in the previous step, that is breathing. So the intaken oxygen is used here to burn food. We'll also intake food, is it not? So to burn the food, this oxygen is utilized, okay, and carbon dioxide is released along with water and energy. Okay, the intaken oxygen is utilized here to burn food and carbon dioxide is released along with water and energy. This step is said to be as cellular respiration. Clear? So, as this takes place within cells of our body, within the cells of our body, that's why it is also termed as cellular or internal respiration. Clear, children? What is that? cellular or internal respiration. Okay, so during this respiration process, the digested food in the form of glucose reacts with oxygen. So what is happening in total? Glucose will react with oxygen. Once again, glucose is nothing but C6H12O6. Glucose, which will be available in the form of sugar. That glucose will react with oxygen, that is 6O2, will give carbon dioxide, that is 6CO2 plus 6H2O, that is water, plus energy. Energy will also get liberated. So children, I am repeating here, glucose plus oxygen, that is C6H12O6 plus 6O2 gives 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus energy. Okay, so that's what about this cellular respiration. Cellular respiration. Yes children, now let us learn about the next thing, that is respiration in human beings. Okay, so how this respiration process is taking place in humans, that's what we are going to learn now. Clear? Yes. In humans, respiration takes place through a complex system of organs. So various organs involved in the process, that is human respiration in human beings. Okay, so what are the various parts? That is nostrils, nasal cavity, pharynx, trachea and lungs. So let us learn about these parts in detail. Yes children, now you can see the picture of human respiratory system. Clear? So what are the parts I mentioned? That is nostrils, nasal cavity, this is the nasal cavity, okay, and this is pharynx here, and then lower, that is trachea, and then you can see two lungs, that is left lung and right lung. Okay, and then below to that lobe, upper lobe and lower lobe. Clear children? So what are the main parts? Nasal cavity, pharynx, trachea, left lung, right lung, then lower lobe, upper lobe and nostrils also. Clear children? Yes. Yes children, now let us learn about parts, that is nostrils, nasal cavity, pharynx and then slightly lower trachea and then left lung, right lung, lower lobe, upper lobe and all. Okay, so now about the first part, that is nostril and nasal cavity. What is this nostril and nasal cavity? They are basically external openings. What is that? External openings. Okay, they are external openings. So it is used to let the air into the nasal cavity. To let the air into the nasal cavity. Clear children? Yes. Air is passed from nostrils through nasal cavity. So it is passed from nostrils through nasal cavity. The air present in the nostrils and the nasal cavity trap dust particles present in inhaled air. Okay, so inside the nasal cavity, air will be there. So what it will do? It will trap the dust particles. It will trap the dust particles present in the inhaled air. Clear? Then a slimy substance said to be as mucus, which is present in the nasal cavity, trap dust particles. What it will do? It will trap dust particles which will moisten the air and they trap the germs. That's what said to be as mucus. So, a slimy substance, mucus, present in the nasal cavity, trap dust particles, moisten the air and trap germs. Clear, children? Now, this nasal cavity acts as like a filter so that the dust particles will be in the form of mucus. Then what happens? The blood circulating through the nose warms the inhaled air. So, the blood which is passing or circulating through the nose will make the inhaled air warm. Clear? So, this clean, moist and warm air then passes through nasal cavity. So, this clean, moist and warm air then passes through nasal cavity. Clear, children? Yes. Now, the second part, that is pharynx. Pharynx. So, what is this? This is a region which is after the nasal cavity, that leads into the trachea. Clear, children? Yes. Yes, children. Now, let us learn about the next part, that is trachea. Where is it? It is lower side to the pharynx. Okay. So, we are going to learn about trachea. Yes, children. Now, let us learn about trachea. Okay. So, what is this trachea? It is guarded by an opening called glottis. What is that? Glottis, which is covered by epiglottis. Okay. So, what is this? This trachea is guarded by an opening called glottis, which is covered by epiglottis. Clear? Then, the trachea is divided into two tubes. It is further divided into two tubes called bronchi, singular bronchus, okay, which enter into the lungs, Each bronchus is further divided into tiny branches said to be as bronchioles. What is that? Bronchioles. Okay. Then this bronchioles will terminate into tiny air sacs called alveoli. Okay. What is that? Alveoli. The singular form is alveolus. Clear, children? It seems to be as a air filled sacs. Okay. Then it provides area for easy and faster exchange of gases. Okay. Then diffusion of gases takes place through these walls. Diffusion of gases takes place through alveoli. Okay. Then alveoli, which is rich supply of blood, through dense network of capillaries present around them. I repeat, these walls, that is alveolus, which have rich supply of blood, and it will be passed through dense network of capillaries present around them. Clear, children? Yes, children. Now, let us learn about the next part, that is lungs. Okay. So, where is that? Here. Is it not? You can see two lungs, that is left lung and right lung. Okay. So, let us learn about this lungs. Yes, children. Now about lungs. Okay. So, they are the main respiratory organ and it is located on both sides of the chest cavity. Where it is located? Both the sides of the chest cavity. Okay. Then the air travels from nostrils, where? From nostrils to lungs through nasal cavity, pharynx and trachea, and finally it reaches lungs. Okay, it reaches lungs through bronchi. Through bronchi. Okay, then lungs are pink in color. How it will be? They are pink in color. Okay, and then it will also be spongy. It will also be spongy due to the presence of air spaces. Why it is spongy? Due to the presence of air spaces and a large number of blood capillaries will be there. Okay, that is because it is filled with blood capillaries which is filled with blood. Clear, children? Yes. Yes, children. Then they are protected in the rib cage. Lungs are protected in the rib cage and supported by a large flat muscle at the floor of the chest cavity. What is that? Said to be as diaphragm. Diaphragm. Clear, children? Yes. Yes, children. Now let us learn about mechanism of respiration in human. Okay, so how does it happen? Okay, you can see the picture, that is inhalation and exhalation. So what do you mean by inhalation? When we are intaking air, that is said to be as inhalation, and exhalation, when the air is released out, that is said to be as exhalation. Okay, then the important part, that is diaphragm. You can see the diaphragm here in the picture. It's a brown color region which is the muscle which gives support, which is giving support here. Okay, so this is what diaphragm. Okay, so now we are going to learn about mechanism. Okay, yes, children. Now let us learn about the first step, that is inhalation. How it is happening? That is, during inhalation, diaphragm moves downwards. What it will do? Diaphragm will move downwards and chest cavity moves outwards. The chest cavity moves outwards so that it creates some space. Okay, creating space for air to enter the lungs. It's creating a space so that the inhaled air will enter the lungs. Clear, children? Yes. Now about the next step, that is what? Exhalation, right? Yes. When diaphragm moves upwards, next step is when diaphragm moves upwards and ribs move downwards and inward. How it will move? Downwards and inward. Then the chest cavity is reduced and air in turn is pushed out. Clear, children? Once again, I am just telling, when diaphragm, you can see the picture, diaphragm, when this diaphragm moves upwards, ribs will move downwards and inwards, and automatically the chest cavity is reduced and air in turn is pushed out. Air in turn is pushed out, and that step is said to be as exhalation. That step is said to be as exhalation. Clear, children? Yes. Then the number of times air inhale or exhale in a minute is termed as breathing rate. Once again I am repeating, the number of times air is inhale or exhale in a minute is termed as breathing rate. So it increases with increase in physical activity. Is it not, children? If you are continuously running for some time, automatically your breathing rate will be high. Yes. Then the average rate of breathing in a man at rest position is 15 to 20 per minute. Clear, children? Yes. So this is what about the mechanism. Yes, children. Now about composition of inhale and exhale air. What is there in the air? air is a mixture of certain gases. What is that? It is a mixture of certain gases. So, what are the different gases? Nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, rare gases and other substances. I repeat, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide and rare gases and other substances such as water vapor and dust particles. Clear, children? Yes. The composition of air, inhale or exhale, varies. Okay. So, these mixture of gases, the composition when we are inhaling or exhaling, that composition will vary. Clear? The exhale air has more carbon dioxide and less oxygen. The exhale, that is which is released out, that air has more carbon dioxide and less oxygen. Why? Because the oxygen inhaled is used for oxidation of food. From the inhaled air, the oxygen will be utilized for oxidation of food, and then carbon dioxide is produced during cellular respiration. That carbon dioxide will be exhaled, so that it has less amount of oxygen and more amount of carbon dioxide. Clear, children? Yes. Yes, children. Now the water vapor in inhale air varies, but the exhale air is saturated. What I said, the water vapor which is present in the inhale air will vary. Okay, the content, the composition will vary, but the exhale air is saturated. The concentration of other gases remain constant. Okay, so then the temperature of inhale air, whether less or more, it becomes same as sort of the body temperature when exhale. Can you understand? Once again, the temperature of inhale air, the temperature of the inhale air, however it might be more or it might be less, but it will be similar, it will be same as that of the body temperature when exhale. The temperature will become same when it is exhale. That is the reason even when we inhale cold air during winter, the exhale air is warm and misty. So, the inhale air, even if suppose it is cold, then after joining with our body temperature, automatically the exhale air will become warm and misty. Clear, children? Yes. Yes, children. Now you can have a look at the picture. So this is the picture which explains about gas exchange between alveoli and capillaries. Okay, so what is this? The inner air-filled bag, air-filled sac is said to be as alveoli. Okay, and then the outer side you can see capillaries. Is it not? So these are capillaries, and here blood will be there. So these are blood cells. Okay, and here this is pulmonary artery and this is pulmonary vein. So when we are inhaling or intaking air, automatically inhaled air will be rich in oxygen. Is it not? That will be rich in oxygen. So here this air-filled sac is full of oxygen. Now this oxygen will be diffused with the capillary, will be diffused to the capillaries. Okay, and then automatically this oxygen will be diffused to the capillary, and here in the capillary carbon dioxide will be more. Carbon dioxide content will be more. So that this carbon dioxide will move to the alveoli. Okay, the carbon dioxide from the capillary will be moved to the alveoli. Okay, so here this exchange of oxygen from alveoli to capillary and carbon dioxide from capillary to alveoli is said to be as gas exchange. Clear, children? Yes, children. Now about the explanation for the same. That is exchange of gases. It takes place in alveoli. Okay, so where it is taking place? In alveoli. When we inhale oxygen rich air, so the intake in air is rich in oxygen, is it not? So when we inhale oxygen rich air, the amount of oxygen present in the alveoli is more than blood present in the surrounding capillaries. So when we inhale air, the intaken air will be stored in the alveoli. Okay, so that alveoli has more amount of oxygen when you are comparing with the capillary. When you are comparing with the oxygen in the capillary, the alveoli has more oxygen. Clear? Then, thus oxygen diffuses from air in alveoli to the blood in the capillaries. Since oxygen is more in the alveoli, it is diffused to the capillaries. Clear? Then, similarly, the blood present in the surrounding capillaries has more carbon dioxide. So, the outer capillary has more carbon dioxide than the air present in the alveoli. So, what happens now? The carbon dioxide moves from the capillary blood to the air present in the alveoli. So, from alveoli, oxygen is transported to the capillary, and from the capillary, carbon dioxide is moved to the alveoli. So, this is what? Exchange of gases. Clear, children? Yes, children. Now about cellular respiration. Okay, so what is that cellular respiration? The oxygen absorbed by blood binds with hemoglobin. That is, what do you mean by hemoglobin? A protein present in the blood. Okay, and together it is said to be as oxygen with hemoglobin. Together it is said to be as oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin. And now this oxyhemoglobin is transported in this form to the different parts of the body. So the oxygen which is mixed with hemoglobin, together said to be as oxyhemoglobin, is transported to the different parts of the body. Clear? In cellular respiration, what happens generally? Oxygen reacts with glucose. Oxygen reacts with glucose to form carbon dioxide and water. Is it not? So along with that, energy will also be released. Energy is released in this process. So now the carbon dioxide formed during respiration. Here you are getting as an end product carbon dioxide, water and energy, right? This carbon dioxide which is formed during respiration is carried by the blood to the lungs to be expelled out of the body during exhalation. Can you understand? The carbon dioxide which is produced in the cellular respiration is carried to the lungs, so that it will be expelled during exhalation. Clear, children? Yes, children. Now an activity for you all. Okay, so what is that activity? You are going to do 3 activities. Okay, what is that? You are going to sit for few minutes. And count breaths you take per minute. Okay, so for 1 minute, how many breaths you are taking? After sitting 2 minutes, relaxedly you just sit for 2 minutes and then count the number of breaths you take per minute. Clear? Then next thing, you walk for 5 minutes. And note down the number of breaths you are taking per minute. Okay, you walk for 5 minutes and count the number of breaths. Okay, then finally run for 3 minutes. And then again note down the number of breaths per minute. Okay, so you're going to do 3 activities. What are they? Sit, walk and run. Okay, and now you're going to give me the report about when your breathing rate will be high. By doing which activity your breathing rate will be high, and why it is high, that you want to mention and report it and forward in your class email ID. Clear, children? Yes. Yes, children. Now about types of respiration. What are the different types of respiration? So commonly in respiration process oxygen will be there, is it not? So mostly oxygen is required for respiration, but there are some exceptions also, like some organisms like yeast and bacteria do not use oxygen for respiration. So there are some exceptions also. So generally respiration is of two types, that is aerobic and anaerobic. Okay, so what do you mean by aerobic respiration? This is nothing but the process which involves with the presence of air, okay, which happens with the presence of air is said to be as aerobic respiration. Clear? The next thing is about anaerobic. Okay, so what do you mean by anaerobic respiration? Anaerobic is nothing but the same respiration process which is carried out in the absence of air. In the absence of air, if the respiration process is carried out, then that is said to be as anaerobic. Clear? Now let us learn one by one. So children, let us learn about aerobic respiration. Okay, so what do you mean by aerobic respiration? Respiration carried out in the presence of oxygen is called aerobic respiration. The process in which the respiration which is carried out in the presence of oxygen is called aerobic respiration. Clear, children? Yes. So in this process, glucose formed after digestion combines with inhaled oxygen. Glucose will combine with inhaled oxygen. So it breaks down to form carbon dioxide, water, and it also releases energy. What I said? Glucose will break down to form carbon dioxide, water, and it releases energy. This type of respiration is carried out by all plants and animals. It's commonly observed in plants and animals. Clear, children? Yes. Now about anaerobic. Anaerobic respiration. What is this? The process in which the respiration carried out in the absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen is said to be as anaerobic respiration. Clear, children? Yes. In this process, sugar breaks down into carbon dioxide, alcohol with the production of energy. What are all? Carbon dioxide, alcohol, along with that production of energy. Now, the amount of energy released here is much less compared to aerobic respiration. The amount of energy which is formed here in this anaerobic respiration here, that is much less compared with the aerobic respiration. Clear? So some examples are bacteria, fungi, and in yeast this anaerobic reaction will take place. Okay. So what is happening here? The sugar breaks down into carbon dioxide, alcohol, and energy. What are all you will be getting? Carbon dioxide, alcohol, and energy. So let us learn about the anaerobic respiration in human. How it takes place in human. While running, so while doing this physical activity, your breathing rate will be high, is it not? While running, the body muscles need a lot of energy. It requires a lot of energy, for which they respire fast but do not get sufficient oxygen. Though they respire fast, they do not get sufficient oxygen by that time. Then what it will do? In such situation, anaerobic respiration will take place in muscle cells. Where? In muscle cells. But here, instead of alcohol, which one you will be getting? Lactic acid. Lactic acid is produced, and that will be accumulated in muscles. Okay, lactic acid will be produced and that will be accumulated in muscles. Clear, children? So this is what anaerobic respiration in humans. Yes, children, now we are going to learn about how do animals breathe. Okay, so there are different organisms and they are using different parts to breathe. Okay, so now let us learn one by one. This is the first one. You can have a look at the picture. That is respiratory system of earthworm. Okay, respiratory system of earthworm. So this picture is about earthworm. You can have a look at the picture of earthworm, and here they have mentioned the cross section of respiratory system. Cross section of respiratory system. Clear? And here the cellular structure, they have mentioned oxygen and carbon dioxide. The diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide is taking place between cell membrane and the body surface. Okay, so this is what respiratory system of earthworm. Yes, children, now you can see the next picture, that is respiratory system of cockroach. You can see the picture of cockroach, is it not? And they have labeled the parts for the cockroach. Inner parts, that is spiracle and trachea, is it not? So what do you mean by spiracle? The small opening here is said to be a spiracle. Okay, and what do you mean by trachea? The network of tubes is said to be as collectively is said to be as trachea. Okay, so now here in cockroach they are using another part for respiration that we are going to learn. Yes, children, now about earthworm, how respiration takes place in earthworm and all. Okay, so here in earthworm respiration takes place through skin. What happens? The oxygen and carbon dioxide is diffused in and out through outer cell membrane or body surface. Okay, so the oxygen and carbon dioxide will be diffused in and out. Clear? In earthworm and leech, skin is moist and helps in exchange of gases. Here in earthworm and leech and all, the skin will be moist so that it is helping to exchange of gases, and that's why it is also said to be as cutaneous respiration. Okay, for example amoeba, euglena and paramecium. Clear, children? Yes, children. Now respiration in cockroaches. How it is happening? Respiration is taking place through air holes. Okay, so in cockroach and some insects, it leads a very active life, is it not? It leads a very active life and it needs more amount of oxygen. The tracheal system provides sufficient oxygen. Okay, then the air tubes, that is trachea, it open through small openings. We saw the picture, right? The small opening is said to be as spiracle and the network is said to be as trachea. Now the air tubes trachea open through the small openings, spiracles. So what for it is? It is mainly used to exchange of gases. Okay, it is used for exchange of gases. For example, cockroach and grasshopper. Clear, children? Yes, children. Now you can see the picture for respiratory system of fish. Is it not? Here you can see the fish picture. Can you all see? Yes. So what is there? Mainly they are having gills. Is it not? Can see the gill? Yes. Now, so they have given another structure, detailed view of gill structure, that is gill filament. Okay, and then carbon dioxide and oxygen they have shown, that is the diffusion of carbon dioxide and oxygen is taking place in blood vessels. Okay, so this is what respiratory system of fish. Yes, children. Now about respiration through gills. Okay, so what is happening here? Aquatic organisms like fish have special organ. They have special organ said to be as gills. So what this gills will do? It will take in oxygen which is dissolved in water. Okay, it will take in oxygen which is dissolved in water and give out carbon dioxide in water. It will give out carbon dioxide in water. Then numerous thin filaments are present inside gills. So there are numerous thin filaments, okay, which is present inside the gills. Then these filaments are surrounded by dense network of capillaries. These filaments are surrounded by dense network of capillaries, and this exchange of gases takes place through capillaries. Clear? This is what respiration through gills. Yes children, you can see the picture for respiratory system of frog. Okay, so what are the parts you can see in frog? Nostril, then glottis, and then lungs. Is it not? So this is the important organ for respiration. Lungs are there in frog. Now they have shown a detailed view of this lungs also. Okay, can you see the picture? Yes. Yes children, now we are going to learn about respiration through lungs. Okay, so lungs, where it will be birds breathe through lungs. Is it not? Birds breathe through lungs. Then human beings also will be breathing through lungs. Is it not? Birds breathe through lungs which is present in their chest cavity, and it also have air fill sacs. The lungs will be having air fill sacs, so that it is making the body light, which will make body light to fly. Okay, and in mammals you can see highly developed lungs. So here mainly gaseous exchange will take place in the lungs of mammals. Clear? So this is what about respiration through lungs. Then again amphibian. We all know frogs is an amphibian. Frogs are basically amphibians. Is it not? So they live both in land and in water. Is it not? Yes. Frogs and taught dual mode of breathing. So it has dual mode of breathing. They can breathe both in land and in water. Okay. So frogs breathe through gills when they are tadpoles. When they are small tadpoles, they breathe through gills. Okay, when they are in water. But when they become mature, lungs will start to form. Okay, then frogs respire through lungs on land. So when they are in land and when they grow, they become mature, they will be respiring through lungs. Okay, frogs respire through lungs on land. Clear children? Yes children. Now you can see the picture for respiration in plants. How do respiration takes place in plants? By means of this stoma. Okay, so what is this? Each part of the plant respires individually. Okay, but still this stomata, that is singular form stoma. Okay, so which is used here, mainly it is used for photosynthesis. You all know photosynthesis, is it not? Yes. Then apart from photosynthesis, it also helps in respiration process. How do they help in breathing? The stomata consists of two bean-shaped cells. Can you see this? Yes, two bean-shaped cells. So what is this? They are called as guard cells. What it will do? which will allow the opening and closing of stomatal pore so that it will take in oxygen. It will intake oxygen. Clear? Children, now about the last part of the chapter, that is respiration in plants. What is that? Respiration in plants. So, plants respire to obtain energy. Why do they respire? To obtain energy. Okay. Then each part of the plant respires individually. So every part will breathe individually. Okay. Then they are having a special structure said to be as stomata. Okay. So what it will do? It is useful for photosynthesis process. You all know photosynthesis is nothing but the preparation of food for plants. Is it not? So this stomata will be helpful in photosynthesis. It also helps in respiration. Apart from photosynthesis, this is also helpful in respiration. Okay. So about the structure, the stomata, it consists of two bean-shaped cells. Is it not? So what are they said to be as? Guard cells. What is that? Guard cells. Okay. So this guard cells which will allow the opening and closing of stomata, which will allow the opening and closing of stomata. Stomatal pore, opening and closing of the stomatal pore, so that it facilitates to take in oxygen, Okay. So this will take place in woody stems which have small openings in their bark, and that is said to be as lenticels. What is that? Lenticels. And this lenticels is used for breathing. Clear, children? Then roots of the plant also breathe with the help of root hair. Okay. Roots of plant also breathe with the help of root hair. So this is what about respiration in plants. Yes, children, now you can see the roots which are dipped in the lime water. You can see the change of color of roots to white color. Change in color, it is white color. Is it not? Slightly the color of the root has changed. Okay. Then apart from that, the lime water, you can see milky white precipitates. Can you see? Yes. Yes, ma. So this milky white precipitate is the evidence of carbon dioxide which is released from roots, and this carbon dioxide will react with lime water to form white precipitate. That's what about this activity. So with this, we have come to an end of this chapter. So after watching the video, read the chapter thoroughly so that you can understand well. Okay. So let's meet in the next class. Bye. Take care.